Hey, Coffee Beans! Light Rose here, and welcome to Light Rose Music. Now, students all over the world learn about scales, and they all know what they are. But what is a scale? To answer this, I've called in my friend Jarrett Longworth. I'm going to. Yeah.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
No, not tomorrow. No, today.
No.
Yeah. Alright, here he comes.
Yeah. Hey, Ding Dong! Coffee Beans. I'm going to tell you, along with Cameron over here, how you can make a scale. Come on for the ride.
Now on to regularly scheduled programming.
Before we move on to the next lesson, we'll need to review some key vocabulary and concepts from the last video that you'll need to better understand.
The first is a note.
A note is a pitch, and a note is represented with a letter A, B, C, D, E, F, or G.
This is only half true because some notes use a thing called an accidental.
That's right. An accidental is a symbol attached to a note name that indicates that that note is raised or lowered.
In general, there are two types of accidentals, sharps and flats.
A sharp will raise the pitch of a note by 1/2 step or 1 semitone.
And a flat will lower the pitch of a note by 1/2 step or semitone. Okay, so we used a word that might have tricked some of you guys, may have confused you, may have bonked your noggin, and that word is semitone.
A semitone is the smallest possible distance between two notes. As a side note, there are smaller distances than semitones. In this case, musicians use cents. There are 100 cents between each note. Now, you don't need to know this. It's not part of the AP Music Theory exam. But if you're curious, there you go.
By the way, semitones and half steps, they're all the same thing, so don't get them twisted.
And another thing, when you move from one note to the next adjacent note, that is called moving chromatically.
Last thing we're going to remind you guys of is this thing called a tetrachord. A tetrachord is 4 notes where the distance from the first and the last note is a perfect fourth or 5 semitones.
Alright, on to the lesson.
On to the lesson. So while there are many ways to build tetrachord patterns, there's one main tetrachord pattern that basically shapes all of Western music. This pattern is whole, whole, half.
Whole, half. That sounds simple enough, but what does it mean?
Well, it'd probably be easier if I just showed you. So look at this diagram of a piano. I want you to pick a note, any note.
How about that funny looking one? G hashtag.
G hashtag? G sharp, Jarrett. Alright, for the sake of the video, I'm going to call it by its enharmonic equivalent, A flat.
E harmony equilateral? What?
Oh, enharmonic equivalent? That just means another name for a note. This note can be called G sharp, but it can also be called A flat, depending on the context of where it's used. Interesting fact, every note has 3 names, but that's irrelevant for now.
Anyway, get back to the tetrachord.
Oh yeah, so you start at A flat, and you go up a whole step.
So, B flat.
Good. Now you go up another whole step.
That's, C, right?
Yeah, good. Finally, you go up a half step.
Okay, so that's a C sharp. Okay, boom! And that's that whole thing's a tetrachord. Nailed it. Boom! I feel smarter already.
Hold up. That's a D flat, not a C sharp.
Hey, equivalent exchange or whatever.
Enharmonic equivalent. And you're only half right. It's important that you name them in alphabetical order. Tetrachords do not use the same letter twice.
Okay, D flat.
So after that, we have successfully made a tetrachord with the whole, half pattern beginning on A flat.
That sounds lame. I've heard of scales before, though. Can we do anything with scales now?
I'm glad you asked. You can make a scale by combining two tetrachords with the whole step in between them.
So, whole, half, whole, half.
Exactly. Whole, half, whole, half.
So if I wanted to complete this scale, I would go a whole step to E flat, and then I'll do an E flat tetrachord. Okay, so that's E flat, and then that's F, and then I'll do a whole step to G, and then I'll do a half step to A flat. Boom! That's an A flat scale, right?
Yep, exactly. You just made an A flat major scale.
Woo!
Okay, I'm about to do something a bit cliffhangery. Ready? And we'll explain that next time. Thanks for watching. This pretty much wraps up this episode. Dear, come from the AV sauce corner.
Hey! Come over to the Anti-Sharpshooter if you want a little bit of fancy stuff over there. Otherwise,
Stay snazzy.